Okay, now we're going to be looking into your 8th house and your ninth house. So your 8th house is in Gemini. So the 8th house is a house that deals with deep behind the scenes things. It's a scary house. It's definitely the haunted house, you feel me? It's a house associated with trauma. It can also reveal like hidden enemies, you feel what I'm saying? I mean open enemies, it's the house of enemies, you feel what I'm saying? But this house ultimately deals with your deep resource, like your deep desires, you feel me? Like the second house and the 8th house, they kind of polar opposites. Like the second house is like your finances and your material needs and your resources, but then the 8th house are like those needs that you need at a deeper level. And so now it's in Gemini, right? And Gemini is a sign that deals with thought, right? It deals with thinking, logic, rationality. So first and foremost, with you having Gemini in the 8th house, you are a deep thinker. You have a tendency of having deep thoughts. And, there can even be sinister undertones of the thoughts you have entertained, or you may find yourself entertaining. They can be like gruesome, scary ass thoughts that other people may not be content or comfortable entertaining, but you and of yourself may go for it. So this is also the house that deals with sex, sex and sexuality. Like the 5th house and the 8th house, 5th house, 8th house. Yeah, those are like pretty much the only two. Yeah, those are like the only two sex houses on the chart, pretty much. So, well, like the 8th house, it more deals with your deeper, intimate needs and sexuality. And so Gemini, it's a sign that's very like flirtatious, very spontaneous, very experimentative. And I think I didn't have to take that route of explaining the other things it was, but it's very experimentative, right? It's mutable air, spread out air. So there is a desire to want to explore, and sexually you may be pretty what's that word? Experienced. You feel me? You may have some sexual abilities under your belt. You feel me? Like skills, because Gemini is the sign that deals with skills. I'm pretty sure you heard the saying, Gemini is the trade of all. The jack of all trades. You feel what I'm saying? So there is this spirit of wanting to explore sexually. But furthermore, with Gemini being here, there can even be like a bipolarism, not bipolar, bisexualityism, because Gemini is a sign that deals with both feminine and masculine energies, and so it isn't fixed, but it's a possibility, right? It's a possibility that there may be a desire to want to be with females as much as wanting to be with males, and maybe you've had sexual experiences with females, and maybe you liked it even. Who knows? But yeah, although like you do have Gemini and Virgo, my bad, you have Mercury in Virgo, and Mercury's ruling over Gemini. So with Mercury being in Virgo, it can indicate a little more reserved type energy, right? A type energy of like your relationships kind of being entangled with your your sexual energies being entangled with your belief systems, because the ninth house, which your Mercury is in, is also the house of belief systems, philosophy, and we'll get into that pretty soon. But yeah, so when the moon goes in, my bad, when Gemini is in the 8th house, it is of importance to understand that you have ability to think deep thoughts, and these deep thoughts can be sinister, but simultaneously they can also be highly spiritual, and energies dealing with behind the scenes. So that may be another thing you may enjoy putting energy and thought into, trying to penetrate like the behind the scenes energy of a situation, or even in your communications, like you want to communicate about things that are behind the scenes, or you just maybe a sort of individual who wants to extract like the mysteries of life, you feel me? And you're in a place where you want to know, you feel what I'm saying? That's like the 8th house, and that's the 8th house in Gemini. Now let's look into your 9th house, which is in Cancer. And so your 9th house is in Cancer, and your moon is in Capricorn, in the 2nd house. Alright, so with your 9th house being in Cancer and your moon ruling over your 9th house, this is an indication of there being a tremendous influence over your philosophical beliefs and your perceptions on life. how you go about comprehending life, that was heavily influenced by your domestic life. That is influenced by your domestic life, your upbringing, your childhood, because that's what Cancer is all about. Cancer is the sign of the family. So it's like with you having your ninth house in the sign of Cancer, it can be a bias filter when it comes to um, like religious dogma or indoctrination. You feel what I'm saying? Where it's like there may be not a concrete belief in facts, and this is crazy because like your Virgo energy. So I'll get back into it. Like and like the moon in Capricorn though may be an indication. Alright, peace, Lindsay. I hope you're doing well and welcome. This is going to be your mini reading, right? In which I will just be discussing your sun and your moon from the perspective of what it is that you exude or express, right, in regards to your sun, and what it is that you draw and attract to you in regards to your moon. And so, essentially, you may know, astrologically speaking, the sun is masculine and it's associated with electricity. You feel me? It's all about your expression. In a sense, you can gain an understanding of what the sun represents in astrology by seeing what the sun does in our day-to-day, in the sense that the sun, right, it shines its light, and it doesn't ask anyone if it could shine its light or not. It just does it. And so ultimately that's what the sun is. It is our ability to express ourselves as individuals, right? The sun also deals with self-esteem, self-value, and how you see yourself as significant to the community. And when I say the community, this can even be like your immediate family, your workplace, whatever it is. It's just ultimately how you see yourself bringing value to the world, But anyways, without further ado, let's definitely jump into your sun. So your sun is within the sign Aquarius. And so you may know maybe that each sign has 3 decans, right? And being born in the first days of Aquarius, you belong to the first decan of Aquarius. And so these are Aquariuses that are very Aquarian, you feel what I'm saying? And this is the decan of originality. Aquarius is a sign that deals with uniqueness, unique expression and being an individual. So what's interesting about the sun and Uranus is, so Uranus is also has rulership over Aquarius, but the difference, because the sun and Uranus have similarities, but there's a slight difference in that the sun deals with authorities, right? It deals with CEOs. It deals with the leader of a community and what the leader says is best. But then Uranus deals with rebellion, right? And so it's like whenever the leader, right, is like not seen as a reliable source, the few who are brave must rebel against the leader, and that's how they go about bringing something better into this world, if that makes sense. And that's very much like the Aquarius energy, first and foremost. Aquariuses, they're very unique, and they're very, well, let me put it like this, being ruled by Uranus, because Aquarius is both ruled by Saturn and Uranus. And so Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, these are the 3 planets that deal with like the spiritual plane, right? ESP energy. They're planets that are out of this world in a sense. It's like the first traditional planets are very in this world, but then the last 3 planets are very much out of this world. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, anyways, so with Uranus is a planet that is the higher octave of Mercury, right? And this is one of the reasons why Aquarius is perceived to be the most intellectual sign. Now, the thing is, in astrology, it seems we confuse signs with people. With people, like an Aquarius person cannot justly represent the Aquarius energy, because the Aquarius person, like you for instance, you also have this Taurus energy, and Taurus alone is going to tremendously alter Aquarius. And this is because Aquarius and Taurus square each other. So you do have a square between your moon and your sun, which I will get into. But, to conclude and finish my thought, it's actually the sign in of itself that deals with high intelligence. But Aquarius is, even though a lot of them are smart and a lot of them walk around, thinking that they have great intelligence, there are a few that are not that smart. But I only say that to explain that Aquarius being the sign of the highest intelligence just points towards possibility and the development of the mind, right? And so Aquarius naturally is a sign that deals with research. They are scientists. And so these are all energies that you express out into the world. This curiosity, this research-like mentality, this desire to want to know knowledge, but it can even exude or express through a perception, an ideology of already knowing. Because, see, Aquarius is a sign, right, that deals with, it's a psychic sign, right, and it deals with downloads, because it's also associated with the Akashic records. So as an Aquarius, you may have an ability to know things without knowing exactly how it is that you know them. And so there is this sense of great intelligence that is expressed outwardly towards the world, and also this desire to want to engage with others and socialize as well. You feel me? And so, okay, also, with Aquarius, it's important to understand that, you know what? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. They are very intellectual and very sociable, but a lot of the times, from my observation, Aquariuses, even though the sign of socialization, they prefer their own space, their individuality, and to be by themselves. And also there is a lack when it comes to one-on-one relationships. Aquariuses, they more deal with collective people, groups of people, if what I'm saying. And so your sun is in the sign, your sun is ruling over the 12th house, because you have Leo in the 12th house. So with your sun ruling over the 12th house, this can make your life journey feel a little bit more isolated. And this is because the 12th house, it's a house that deals with the inner journey. It deals with the spirit realm. You feel me? And ultimately, when the sun rules over the 12th house, it just indicates and highlights an individual who has spiritual authority. You feel what I'm saying? So you have spiritual authority. And if I'm not, I took some notes. This is a mini reading, but I wanted to go a little deep for you, because, yeah, your energies are cool. Anyways, what is Pluto doing? Alright, yeah, Pluto trines. Okay, so you have Pluto also trining your sun, and with Pluto, so Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, these are planets that endow an individual with psychic abilities. They endow an individual with an ability to pierce through the veil and look into the spirit realm, ultimately. And with Pluto trining your sun, it indicates a natural tendency for you to be conscientious and aware of the happenings of the spiritual world, but furthermore, having a natural ability to be attuned with your psychic energy or your psychic senses. Aquarius, in of itself is already psychic, but then when Pluto's thrown into the mix, the psychic experiences also become intensified. But in a more practical term, Pluto trining your sun makes you a very intense person. People can feel you. They can feel your genuineness, your desire to want to bring harmony. Because Pluto, you gotta keep in mind, is in Libra, the sign of harmony in relationships. But I don't want to go too deep into this though, because this is supposed to be a mini reading. And then you also have your sun in the 6th house, which indicates that you express great interest in work and in employment and in being of practical use. You want to be of practical use for people, if that makes sense, or you want to be useful in general. And then with your moon being in Taurus, this can be an indication of attracting and drawing to yourself. You know what's interesting about Taurus? It's like, even though Taurus is a sign that deals with harmony, right? A lot of Tauruses are good at harmony because of the chaos they initially first experienced, if that makes sense. So, with your moon, I feel like it's more important for me to talk about your moon in the 9th house. With the moon being in the 9th house, you attract and are a magnet to philosophies. And it's important that in this lifetime, you invest in developing your own mind and your own philosophy. And if I'm not mistaken, Venus and Jupiter are square. So also with Venus squaring your moon, it can indicate that there is somewhat disharmonious energies, possibly work. Alright, peace, Loren. So welcome. This is going to be the next session of your reading, right? Which we're going to be talking about Chiron, Lilith, your fortune, and I'll also touch on the North Node and the South Node. Alright, so first we're going to start with Chiron. So in astrology, right, Chiron, it is the wounded healer. And Chiron ultimately depicts those aspects within your psyche or your mind, yourself, you feel what I'm saying, which you need to free yourself from in order for you to attain healing, you feel what I'm saying. So Chiron, mythologically, Chiron is associated with the sun, a centaur, right? Chiron is a centaur. He was birthed, right, from a miscellaneous interaction with Kronos, which is Saturn, and a moon deity, for what I'm saying. And having been not wanted, and in a way what happened was, you can look into the mythology of it, but it was like Saturn had a desire to get with the moon, but the moon had no interest in Saturn. So regardless of the moon's desires to escape, Saturn raped her technically, and as a result, Chiron was birthed, you feel what I'm saying? And when Chiron was birthed, he was rejected by Saturn because he was a bastard child, and he was rejected by the moon because she, to begin off with, wanted nothing to do with Saturn. So whenever she would look at him, it would make her very unpleased. You feel what I'm saying? So from a young age, Chiron experienced great pain, you feel me, great abandonment energies, etc. But then later he was adapted by Apollo, right? And Apollo was a teacher. He taught him everything he needed to know in order, so then later he can become a teacher to other gods. But Chiron's story ends in Hercules accidentally shooting him on the thigh with an arrow that was poisonous. And although Chiron was capable of healing others, he was unable to heal himself, you feel what I'm saying? And so I share that story really for the end, with the Chiron energy. A lot of the times the way it is expressed is that those aspects depicted by our Chiron are those aspects that we may be able to help others heal upon, but we fail to help ourselves heal upon. Now, your Chiron is in Taurus, you feel what I'm saying? And so it's of great importance. Hold on, let me take these off. It's of great importance to, it's of great importance to understand that Taurus, right, is a sign that deals with the physical world. It deals with the senses. It deals with stability, security, being concrete, and being unmoving. Right? Tauruses, they're very solidified in all that they do. And so, for starters, with Chiron being in Taurus, there may be a woundedness when it comes to your fixatedness and your inability to move in regards to your way of thinking, your way of living, your way of eating, etc. You feel what I'm saying? Like Taurus, they're just fixated like that, where they don't typically want to change the way that they think, change the way that they live, or the place that they live, and so on and so forth. You feel what I'm saying? So wounded energies may arise from that, for starters. Secondly, Taurus deals with the senses. It deals with all five senses, but it's attached most strongly to the taste. You feel what I'm saying? But that's beside the point. So when Chiron is in Taurus, one thing that may manifest is like, I forget what the term is called, like dysphoria. It sounds like dysphoria, you feel what I'm saying? But it's like when you are unable to see your beauty, even if it's evident that you are beautiful. You feel body dysmorphia, you feel me? I think that's what it's called. Like, where like just not being able to see yourself in light of beauty, but perceiving yourself as ugly, And so for starters, that may be one of the channels which this Chiron energy can express. But furthermore, Chiron in Taurus, right, it's like energy where the way that you go about utilizing your senses may need to be brought to a higher, healthier channel. You feel what I'm saying? In the sense that in many occult sciences, right, there is this perception that our senses are demons. And let me elaborate. In the sense that it is only through our senses that can we, quote unquote, sin. You feel what I'm saying? Like, without the senses, we truly cannot commit sin. And so with that being said, there may be a need to learn how to master your senses rather than allowing your senses to get the best of you. And it's like Chiron, being half horse and half human signifies the animalistic natures of humanity, and the other half of humanity symbolized by the centaur's man half, which symbolizes our divinity, right? And it's like our animal and our divinity tend to clash. And with Chiron and Taurus, for starters, it is of great importance to learn to find that equilibrium between not being too materially driven and feeling like wanting to satisfy yourself through material means, in the sense that with Taurus, and this is just me explaining it in broader perspectives, greed, but also gluttony can express a desire for wanting more and more and more material things, but from a perspective of wanting those material things so they can fill the void of emptiness within, you feel what I'm saying? So ultimately, with Taurus though, what's of great importance is to learn how to utilize materials and the five senses, whether that's aromatherapy, massage therapy, and manners where they can be healing to you, if that makes sense. So understanding how having things can be healing to you, but from a perspective of understanding that it's not so much about the things, but your ability to add sentimental value to the things that will contribute them to be healing to you. But furthermore, you also have your Chiron in the 10th house. And so with Chiron being in the 10th house, this is a house that deals with recognition, status, and so there can be a unhealed energy where there may be a desire to want to be recognized. And with the moon being sextiled also, it may be like a desire to want to be recognized by maybe it I'm busy.
Can I use your laptop?
I'm busy. So it may be a intoxic desire to want to be recognized and even validated by authorities, and this can even be the mother, if what I'm saying. So there are woundedness when it comes to the way that you engage with the material realm and process material experiences, but also woundedness when it comes to validation, not realizing that you must learn to validate yourself, to pay attention to your own emotions, your own needs, but rather extending that energy and allowing others to be that validator for you, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much Chiron in the Chiron and Taurus in the 11th house. Now we're gonna look into Lilith. Okay, now let's talk about Lilith. So in astrology, Lilith ultimately signifies the darker side of you. You feel me? Lilith signifies those aspects of you that you may feel feel bad for expressing. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's like an energy of retaliation. You feel what I'm saying? An energy of retaliation. And so to explain this energy, let's get into the myth of Lilith. You feel me? So ultimately, Lilith was said to be the wife of Adam before Eve. But Lilith, she was a woman who was attuned with her masculine energies, and she didn't perceive Adam as unequal to her. I mean, as her being unequal to Adam, but rather that they were made from the same substance and therefore equal to each other. And asserting herself and wanting to express herself in her sexuality also, she was denied, rejected, and thrown away. And so thus the story goes, she went and teamed with like the devil, and she became like the mother of demons. You feel what I'm saying? And so Lilith expresses those aspects of us that are dark but nevertheless possess power, and those aspects of us which we must learn in a sense to work through and resolve, so then we can express our like intensity into this world and attain fulfillment. You feel what I'm saying? Alright, so first and foremost, with Lilith being in Sagittarius, it's an indication that like when it comes to Lilith and Sagittarius in the 5th house, so when it comes to beliefs and perceptions and preaching your beliefs onto others, there may be this energy of possibly people being rubbed the wrong way whenever it is that you go about expressing yourself and expressing your belief. And there may be this assertive energy that comes from Lilith of feeling like what you have and what you know, what you have in regards to what you know, in regards to like religion and philosophy, is the truth and all be all. And so when it even goes to expressing it onto others, there may be this restrictive energy that people receive, in the sense of not having an ability to process your philosophical expression, not because you're wrong, but maybe because the way that you're coming off is too assertive or demanding. But then, like with Lilith being in Sagittarius in the 5th house, the 5th house is a house that deals with play, it deals with pleasure, it deals with enjoyment, and it deals with like sexuality and the sex life. And so when Lilith is in the 5th house, there may even be this energy of wanting to express yourself adventurously when it comes to like the way that you have fun, or even behind doors in your sex life, but there being like a shaming energy that may even arise from within, a feeling like other people can have fun, but I can't have fun because maybe I have all these responsibilities and obligations I need to fulfill. You feel what I'm saying? But then it's like within the 5th house, what is needed to truly be learned is having fun, like learning ways to have fun. And so Sagittarius, right, deals with traveling, So traveling may be something that brings great enjoyment to you. It also deals with adventures, right? And this can even be going out into nature and exploring nature. Um, but even like study, right? And expanding your philosophical viewpoint on life, maybe something that um, is of value and bringing joy to you, but possibly even because of childhood experiences, you may feel like you shouldn't study certain things. There may be this like shame, but it's like of importance that you open that world of like philosophy and occult studies, because it's through those channels that you're going to learn how to enjoy yourself more. You feel what I'm saying? So with Lilith being in Sagittarius, it's like the more philosophical you can get, the more enjoyment you will receive and attain, and there may even be a blockage when it comes to creativity and expressing yourself creatively. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like there can be this energy of learning how to take your darkness and pain and formulating it into an art that's backed and supported by some philosophical reasoning. You feel what I'm saying? With Lilith being in Sagittarius in the 5th house. Okay. And so with Lilith being in Sagittarius in the 5th house, there can even be a feeling of like, in a sense, you having broken out of some sort of viewpoint on life or philosophical system, religion, whatever it may be, of life, but then you going to wanting to express your findings to others, but rather than being embraced, you being ashamed. You feel what I'm saying? So what it really is learning how to get your philosophical points and views across to people in a way where it may not seem like you feel like it's the only way, but more embracing the ideology that there are many different ways and many people are on different paths on their spiritual journey. But also it's like there's this genuine desire to want to share knowledge because you want to save people. But it's like there needs to be an understanding that not everyone can be saved. You feel what I'm saying? And ultimately, with Lilith being in Sagittarius, like I said, Lilith is the dark side, and Sagittarius does deal a lot with philosophy and the viewpoint on life. So there can even be an indication of your philosophy, viewpoint on life, etc., being where your dark side primarily dwells. And so looking into your broader perspective on life, your viewpoint on God, things like that. But furthermore, learning how to enjoy yourself and, in a sense, restore that childlike wonder, you feel me, of having an ability to be free in spirit and just enjoy yourself and have fun again, because there may be along the line of your development where someone, possibly an authoritative figure, stripped away your belief that you can have fun and that you can enjoy yourself. And it's like there is an importance in learning how to restore that again. But yeah, I would say that pretty much concludes Lilith. And now I'm gonna go into your fortune, and then we'll conclude by talking about your North Node and South Node. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, peace. So Now we're gonna look into, and it's the next day, by the way. Over the weekends, I typically just like to take things slow. But anyways, now we're gonna look into your fortune, which is in Gemini, in the 11th house. So the fortune, the part of fortune as it's called this because it signifies, it indicates those energies and activities that if you were to get into would yield fortunate results for you. Ultimately, these are energies that you would want to get into if you desire to, right, generate opportunities, or just generate joy and like enjoyment, you feel me, in life. Alright, so your fortune of Gemini, my bad, your fortune, part of fortune is in Gemini in the 11th house. So first and foremost, with your part of fortune being in Gemini in the 11th house, Gemini is a sign that deals with the mind. It deals with mental expansion. It's a sign that deals with flow of ideas and information. You feel what I'm saying? These signs, the Gemini sign, it's very more so directed and orientated towards the inner world over the outer world. You feel what I'm saying? So whenever you are in spaces where you are tapping into your mind, developing your mind, you feel what I'm saying, observing your mind, things like this, you feel me, you in a sense extract joy from that. Now, Gemini deals with short-term travel. Now, it doesn't only deal with short-term travel around the neighborhood, but it also deals with going inward, right, and like observing and analyzing the different dimensions of your mind. So it's like whenever you get into mental work, doing so as an effect generates like fortune for you. You know what I'm saying? Furthermore, with these individuals with the Gemini and fortune and Gemini in the 11th house, they value the most from people ideas. You feel what I'm saying? They enjoy communicating with people and they value people that have information. And at times, they may even value the ideas that people have to bring to the table over the individual or the person themselves. You feel what I'm saying? But ultimately, these individuals enjoy communication. They enjoy their neighborhood, and when it comes to the neighborhood, the immediate neighborhood, that is, right? So your community, just the places you're familiar with, because they are a part of your day-to-day. These aspects of life are those aspects that will generate for you opportunities. You feel what I'm saying? But furthermore, you have Gemini in the 11th house, which is the house of networking, and associates, and even the social life in general. So it's like the more you can get into networking and building your network and learning how to have valuable people in which you are networked with, the more fortunate you and of yourself will be. You feel what I'm saying? So with the 11th house and fortune, it's important for you to build a strong network, right, of people. And it's like, of course, this sounds like for everyone, and it's like really it really depends on what, because all of the different houses, they can be beneficial for you to develop, but for you specifically, because it's in the 11th house, you would benefit most from networking, making associates and connections with your neighborhood. But being in the 11th house, this is the house that also deals with the internet. You feel what I'm saying? And tapping into the internet and learning how to market and connect with people on the internet. You feel what I'm saying? And then like you'll have Mercury in the Taurus in the 10th house. So because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, Gemini is going to always be influenced by Mercury because Gemini is keyed to Mercury. You feel what I'm saying? And so if Mercury is an earthy sign, then Gemini becomes influenced in an earthy manner. And so what this means is that the things in which you should engage in networking and communicating with, should deal with, things like resourcefulness, resources, material resources, learning how to get more stable and secure even. But ultimately, it's like it's in the 10th house as well, which indicates an importance of engaging in conversations that are tailored to assist you in the expansion of like your, how do I put this, your status. You know what I'm saying? That's what the 10th house is. So that's where the ideas may be tailored around. So even maybe building a network of people whom you can have engaging conversations with that may deal with money. But it's like the thing about Taurus is it's the first earth sign, so it's not externalized. They're very inwardly focused, and a plethora of Tauruses are drawn towards psychicism. Like a plethora of them, even though they are earth signs. There are so many tarot readers out there, and just magicians even out there, that are tailored towards the psychic energies. And this is very much associated with Taurus, but for you, Pisces is very much psychic as well. Like the water signs are a bit more psychic than the earth signs. And the thing about the earth signs is they can be inclined towards negative expressions when it comes to that. Like, because Tauruses may be inclined towards using magic for selfish reasons and selfish gain, because it's an earth sign. So there isn't a need to look out for that. But for the most part, Tauruses are powerful both in light magic, just as much as they can be powerful in, the darker aspects of magic, which are typically influenced because of a Taurus's desire for like material gain. You know what I'm saying? Selfishness really is the differentiation between light magic and dark magic, right? To be selfless, to practice magic for selfless reasons is like that. Meanwhile, to do it for selfish reasons is primarily dark. But anyways, yeah, that's like your fortune, right? Which is in Taurus, which is in Gemini. And so this can even be like, the better you can learn how to, I already said develop your mind, but also the better you can learn how to organize your thoughts and organize the flow of your thoughts and ideas, the better. You feel what I'm saying? This can even be like learning how to get good at multitasking, because that's a very Geminian trait. Can benefit you as well. But ultimately communicating with those in your environment. You feel me? But also expanding your network and communicating with those possibly outside of your environment. So things like going to like dinner parties for the sake of networking, and kind of putting yourself out there to meet more and more people, in your case, will assist you and benefit you. You feel me? And this can even be like you have a salon, right? For example, and obviously the more networked you are, the more clients you can attract to you. But yeah, it's ultimately the fortune. That's ultimately what I gotta say about that. I'll be back with now we'll be talking about your vortex, and then finally we'll talk about your north node and your south node. Alright, I'll be back. Peace. Alright, peace, Lauren. So this is another extension into this reading I'm doing for you that's taking a couple weeks, but hey, I'm glad you're okay with it because I have been doing a lot of, studying, a lot of note taking, a lot of reading books, and really just upgrading my skills as an astrologer. And so I haven't been doing any readings, period, so it's nothing personal against you. But I don't even need to get into that rampage because I know you understand. But anyways, I wanted to hop in here real quick and do your vortex, right? So your vortex. The vortex is, it's an intersection, right, between the celestial equator and the horizon. You feel me? So the celestial equator divides the poles from south to north, and then the just equator, because there's like the celestial equator, then there's the equator. Then the equator divides like the earth from east horizon to west horizon. But where they intersect, or where the two intersect, is where the vortex is. So your vortex is in Sagittarius, and it's in the 5th house. Alright, so let me just be sure of that. So the vortex, it signifies and represents faded things, things in your life that, in a sense, you experience that feel like you were meant to experience it, as if it was faith. So these are things that, like, in a sense, you don't per se particularly have control over, but these are things that kind of are fated to happen. They're meant to happen. You feel what I'm saying? And the vortex is also, in a sense, associated with being like a secondary descendant. So the descendant is the 7th house, and the 7th house signifies and deals with relationships and partnerships and things like that. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, the vortex and more deals with meeting people and it feeling like it was faith and everything like that. And so with Sagittarius, right, with your vortex being in Sagittarius, is an indication that a lot of people that you meet, that there is an energy of faith revolving around, deal with Sagittarian energies. So when you are tapping into philosophy, religions, and traveling, for instance, when you went to Egypt, there may have been a feeling of faith or a feeling of destiny or whatever type energy. You feel me? Because Egypt is a land, that's associated with the Taurus energy. Like, Egypt has a couple rulerships. I haven't really read anywhere that Egypt is associated with Sagittarius, but I have read in many sources that Egypt is associated with Taurus, so that also may contribute to the reason why you felt like just at home there or whatever. But ultimately, it's these types of energies, you feel what I'm saying? And also, wherever there are endeavors where you interact with someone and you meet someone and there is a theme of like entertainment or joy that arises from the associationship, there also may be a faded type of energy there. You feel what I'm saying? In the sense that it's in the 5th house, and the 5th house is a house that deals with offsprings, it deals with, children, but offsprings as in general, like whether it's offsprings of the mind, so like art, but also offsprings as in literal children. But the 3rd house, the 5th house, it's ultimately also companions and pleasure. And so this can be like intimate, like sexual companions, but at the same time it can just be like companions that give you tremendous pleasures. You feel what I'm saying? Whether that's they tap into your sexual energy, or whatever, or however it may be. There is this energy of companionship and a lot of creative energy. And so ultimately, where your vortex is, dwells in foreign energies, foreign objects. So there's a lot of destiny entangled in foreign energies and foreign objects in the realm of your expressing your creativeness, and expressing like your joviality, or when I say joviality, being like magnanimous, you feel me, and just generous and grandiose. Like whenever you tap into just Jupiterian energy in general, there is a lot of faith type energy that also follows. But yeah, that pretty much is your vortex, which is in the 5th house. And at last, we're going to look into your north node and your south node. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, hey, peace. It's funny? So, hold on. This is the day. I think it is. What is today? It is October 3rd. And, we got pretty... for lack of a better word, intimate, right? And we articulated and communicated, I would say, the most we have ever, and I bring that up because the moon is in Gemini right now. The moon is in Gemini, and so it's expected for people to express and articulate their internal feelings, you feel what I'm saying? So yeah, we were able to put our emotions and feelings into words. Today is October 3rd. It is a Tuesday. But anyways, this is going to be the conclusion of your birth chart. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the North Node and the South Node. Alright, so the North Node, it signifies one's destiny. It signifies that energy that is foreign to you, but that the universe is pushing you towards, more so that your soul is directing you towards, because there is growth and development to be there. You feel what I'm saying? And so the North Node has a polar opposite, or correspondent, as I was going to say. But better term, polar opposite. It has a polar opposite, which is the South Node, right? So the North Node signifies one's destiny, one's destiny. Like what's fated, not even what's fated to be, but like where it is that they are intended to go in this lifetime, where they can attain the most growth. Meanwhile, the South Node signifies where you are coming from. The energies of your South Node signify energies that are very similar to you, energies that you are coming with from your past life into this life with. You feel what I'm saying? So ultimately, your South Node energy is like energy that you have mastered already. Alright, so let's get it. So let's get into North Node, then we'll talk about South Node. Well, actually, we'll kind of do a variation. I'll talk about both of them simultaneously. So the North Node in Cancer, right? So your North Node is in Cancer in the 12th house. So Cancer is a sign, right? It is very personal. It deals with the personal emotions. It deals with how you feel, right? Cancer's key phrases: I feel. It's all about feelings. It's all about emotions. It's in a sense liberal, right? Meaning that it follows and beats the drum, or follows the drum of its own heart. It's highly influenced by its own emotions, its own feelings. You feel what I'm saying? That's the Cancerian energy, right? Ultimately, Cancer deals with the home. It's ruled by the moon, right? It's very nurturing. It's very domestic. It's very family orientated. It deals with emotions, really touchy emotions. Cancer is very vulnerable, right? It deals with vulnerability. All of those energies. You feel what I'm saying? This sign, it is a more feminine and submissive sign. You feel what I'm saying? So it doesn't per se have control over life, but it's kind of influenced, kind of like how does the moon influences the waves, right? And anytime we're talking about water, we're talking about emotion, right? So Cancer brings forth this energy of vulnerability, being vulnerable to others, being vulnerable to life, and having a degree of sensitivity to the things that happen to you in life. You feel what I'm saying? So it's ultimately vulnerability. And so when you think about this sign Cancer, it's good to know that Cancer is signified by the crab, right? Holy crap, why is my lap not laptop, my camera. It's been dying lately. It's been dying pretty quickly lately. But anyways, that's beside the point. So, you know, Cancer, it's signified by all these things, right? By the crab. So the crab has an exterior that's very tough, right? But within the crab, there's this soft meat, right? And so Cancers have an ability of tenacity, right? Ability to portray this strength, this impenetrativeness. But in reality, internally, they are vulnerable and sensitive. Alright, so let's talk about what this all means for your North Node. In your past life, Capricorn energy. Capricorn, whereas Cancer deals with the home and the emotions, hold on. Capricorn more so deals with the external reputation and how one is perceived in the public world by their peers, by their associates, etc., etc. You feel what I'm saying? And so, with your South Node being in Capricorn in the past life, you were very concerned with your reputation, with your career life. You're very concerned with, you know, just your public figure and how you were seen, and concerned about taking advantage of opportunities, and not so emotionally attached, not so geared towards like vulnerability and the home life. Like there may have even been an energy of like broken, not broken home energy, but more so workaholicism and choosing the work over the home life. And so thus the the home life suffers because there isn't a work home balance. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the energy you're coming from, right? So there's this I'll do it myself, I don't need you type of energy, very independent, very persistent and like durable type energy, if what I'm saying, and very goal orientated, very ambitious energy, right? These are energies you're coming from that you already in a sense have mastered, right? Having an ability to know how to utilize one's resources, right? Because Capricorn deals with resources and it deals with utilization of you resources correctly, intellectually. You feel what I'm saying? So it's Capricorn in the 6th house. So this was like energy, because the 6th house deals with work, you feel what I'm saying? And so there was a lot of work, a lot of laboring, a lot of and the 6th house deals with endeavors that deal with that will help generate you money, right? So the past life money was of great importance. Being of practical use and practical service to others was of great value and importance, you feel what I'm saying? And so that followed you, and even to this day, being a Capricorn, 10th house Capricorn, like that's the sun, and it does influence that energy. You are very geared towards money, and you naturally are good with money and good with the physical world. But what you are here to learn how to master is vulnerability, right? Is spirituality, is letting go of I'll do it myself, letting go of control efforts to control everything, and kind of having faith and trusting the universe and trusting the process. You feel what I'm saying? Kind of being more ingrained within a universal family. You feel what I'm saying? Rather than feeling like you're a unit and you're by yourself and you're doing this, but learning how to truly tap into your spiritual gifts, your spiritual abilities, but also learning how to tap in with your spiritual ancestors, not even ancestors, because that's Cancer, ancestors, but just in general spiritual beings, right? Learning how to commune with spirits and things like that, and learning ultimately how to tap into your own psyche, your own unconscious mind, learning how to bring from the surface, not from the surface, but bring from the depths to surface those disappointments, those sorrows, those baggages, emotionally speaking, that you carry with you in this life, right? And learning how to ultimately learn how you and of yourself may be an enemy, right? And this is really just psychological work and learning how to become free, right? Because the 12th house deals with imprisonment, and maybe this can even be imprisonment done because of material bondage. What I'm saying, like the material realm is amazing. Like I'm recording, on a $1,200, or $1,200 camera. I love nice things, so I'm not saying it's not, but it's like, it can at times play as a imprisonment type energy. But I feel like with the Cancer, it's more so learning how to get into the past experiences you may have had in relationships, and how those disappointments are still carried with you on psychological side, unconsciously, if what I'm saying. But yeah, that pretty much concludes that. Thank you so much. And yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, peace, 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 peace.